It's so nice to be with you again.
Hello.
I have Erin with me today. I love it when Erin is on. Yeah, so I see Carmen and Yana, and I'm pretty sure Tambray will be coming on too, and a few others. So thank you, everyone. I know this is such a busy season. And man, it is for me too. I managed to get a little bit of Christmas shopping in before I came home. Erin, how are you doing with all of that?
I'm good, but I just dropped a friend off at the airport.
Yeah.
Just like 10 minutes ago, dropped her off at the airport. So I was like, it was like crazy town at the airport today. Lots of
Uh,
people getting dropped off. So
yeah, I know. But next week it's your turn because Erin's coming
I know.
home. We're going
Yeah.
to have all 9 children, all 6 grandchildren, and all of the in laws except for Kevin. I'm
I
so
know.
sad that we're not going to have Kevin with us. Kevin is Erin's husband, and we love Kevin.
And
We
Kevin
love
works a lot. A lot. So
Yeah, he has a great job, a job he loves, and that's a good thing. Um, but today I wanted Erin to come on because we're going to do an Ask Me Anything, and we do have some questions that have already been submitted. But first, let me just say, here I am again, drinking my cup of health from my God's Good Table mug. Only 1 mug left, but I just ordered a few more. Okay, I needed that. I also wanted to say, good, Tambray is on as well, because I wanted to just say, oh wait, that's Carmen. I was eager for Tambray to be on today and see me because I am embracing my inner Viking today. Actually, my Viking heritage. It's true. So here I am, complete with pigtails and overalls, just like a good, strong Viking woman should be wearing, right? So I'm sure I'll hear about that later. Anyway, oh good, another
yeah,
question.
we've got some really good questions today.
I am so glad, and it's we used to do this on Instagram, and that was fun, but I really wanted to start doing an Ask Me Anything maybe once a month. So we're going to do that. But to start with, I wanted to highlight also some of our favorite products, like I do every week. And you know that we don't put a single resource on our resource page, nor endorse anything that we don't personally use, love, and purchase for ourselves. So I wanted to talk just for a minute about Hearth and Heather. Hearth and Homestead. I always say it wrong. I'm sorry, Lily. I want to say I used to make all of my own skincare. I used to make and still do actually some goat milk soaps. And I used only pure organic essential oils, really high quality stuff. I don't have time for that anymore, but I still really care about my skin. So I care about what goes on the inside as well as what goes on the outside. Well, we found Lily about 2 years ago, I think,
Yeah, probably
Erin,
about 2 years ago now.
about
Year
two
and a half,
years
2 years
ago.
ago.
Yeah, we met her at a Homesteaders of America event. And
And
while
we love her. We love her to
that's
pieces.
the thing, there are
It's
lots of people out there now making soap, including goat milk soaps and natural soaps, but none of them meet the high standards that I personally have until I met Lily. So I say this in all honesty, I'm a real snob when it comes to what goes in and on my body because I want to protect the inside and the outside. And I've tried lots of other soaps and skincare. There's one out of New Zealand, a skincare program that I really do like. It's just very difficult to get here. But Lily's soaps are exquisite. Some of our children are getting them for Christmas, but I also buy them for myself. I buy little presents for myself, like this one. This is her Aleppo soap in true Italian fashion, I think. It's a very high olive oil content and it's aged for at least 6 months. Mine were always aged a long
And that
time
one
too.
smells amazing. That one smells really good.
Yeah, it smells good and it's super mellow on the skin. So this is one of my current favorites.
Really good if you have like eczema and yeah.
And I don't know whether or not it's too late for Christmas presents, but I'll bet you could probably still order. We're doing our Christmas a little late anyway. Okay, I am actually going to do a video maybe next week, maybe Erin can help me, where I do my skincare routine so I can show you. And then I'm going to open up all of these things. But here's my box that I purchased last month from Lily. I'm going to try to very carefully open it. Let me see. Because I want to make it look like I haven't opened it before when I open it for the video.
And Lily's going to be on with us in January. She's going to hop on and talk about ancestral skincare.
January 10th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So here, this is the kit that I use. The main thing is that I start, this is what I cleanse my skin with every day, Dewdrop. It is a combination of really good oils, including, oh my goodness, I didn't grab my glasses. I can't read the tiny print. I don't know if you can.
I think that one has sea buckthorn oil in it.
No, it doesn't. Or if it does, it's a tiny amount. I actually add a little bit to mine, not to this, but to the other. I'm going to put it up as close as I can. Maybe somebody can read it. I want to say argan, jojoba. I don't remember what all, but I use this every morning and every night to cleanse my skin. And then I use a very warm, damp face cloth to wash. And then once a week, if you had younger skin or oilier skin, you could do this more often. But I use her charcoal bar once a week. It's called Chimney Sweep. Chimney Sweep, see? Chimney Sweep. It smells really nice. Now, the smells on most of the soaps are not overpowering. You don't want to have a lot of essential oil in a product because it can be irritating to the skin. Most essential oils should be diluted. But Lily used pure, organic, and very high quality essential oils, not fragrance oils. Remember, like we said last week in our conversation with Mandy, just because it says natural doesn't mean it is. No fragrance oils. It's got to be pure essential oils, and they should not be hexane or solvent extracted. Lily's are not, but most are. That's why I don't buy mine at Walmart or even at TJ Maxx, my favorite store. So I use this once a week because it goes a little bit deeper and cleans impurities. And then I use nectar. I'm going to go ahead and open. This is the best thing. This is what I started with. When I first started using Lily's products, besides her soap, I bought the nectar. This has cod liver oil.
It's so good.
Jojoba oil. I think it has tallow. Again, I can't read all of the ingredients and I don't remember. But most daytimes, this is all I use on my face. And I use it on my neck as well. We tend to forget about our neck and chest, but especially as we get older, we need to start paying attention to that. I notice if I'm not putting oil or moisturizer on my neck and my chest area, I think that's called décollage, it gets dry and kind of wrinkly, crepey looking. So I try to remember every day, put a little on. I just did a little while ago. Anyway, the nectar is extremely nourishing. And Lily suggests that you use it every night, but I do use it twice a day.
I use it every morning.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
so January 10th, come back and join us for Lily. She's wonderful.
But let me also show the last thing in this kit, because I cannot make something better than this. Maybe not even as good as this. I really like this. Wild Bloom is her cream, and it's made with Polyface Farm tallow, actually, and emu oil and cod liver oil and jojoba oil. And I don't remember what else, but this stuff is, I hate to use the cliche, the bomb, but it's the bomb. except for it doesn't blow you up. It just makes
And
you.
it has blue tansy in it, which is very good for scarring. If you have any scars, it's very good for that.
Thank you, Erin, for that. I knew I needed you on for something. But we have a link on our resource page. We don't get paid to say anything about
Yeah, no,
this.
not this one's. We just love her so much and just want everybody to know about her.
Yeah, I just I'm so impressed, and I love that she's doing things the way that I used to do things and would do things if I had the time. So I feel very confident using her products, which I don't with almost any other. At Homesteaders of America at the ladies retreat, there were actually several people selling soaps, and I bought a couple of others to play around with. They're not as gentle or as nice as Lily's. They don't smell as good. And some of them had natural fragrance oils, and I'm sorry, but they're not good for you. Fragrance oils, even if they are actually naturally derived, are um, um, extracted with solvents, which you don't want to be putting on your skin. But almost across the board, they're not natural anyway. So, okay, here we go.
All right, so it looks like our first question is from Lori.
And it is.
So she says, I have a 5-month-old grandbaby. My daughter is on board for feeding her good whole foods. That's awesome. What are your recommendations for starting out? Is it okay to give raw milk to babies and other foods? She's been nursing all along. Okay.
What a great
Good question.
Lori, thank you for asking that, because how we feed our children is super important.
Mhm.
And when we are starting them out, of course, nursing is the best thing as long as you're eating a pretty decent diet. Sometimes actually nursing isn't the best. Like if you were eating just a vegan diet, it's not so good for the baby. I have a friend who I need to talk to about that. She does listen to me and ask my advice, but she insists on being vegan. And she has a 6-month-old nursing baby. I need to talk to her about this. Anyway, the quality of your breast milk is only as good as what you are putting into your body. So, Lori, I'm assuming that you're putting good things into your body, like lots of good natural saturated fats and high quality protein. And of course, vegetables, organic, and all of that, all of the things that we recommend. But when we want to introduce solid foods to our children, the first thing that doctors tell you to do is give them grain, give them rice cereal, give them oatmeal. You know what? That's actually really bad advice. And here's why. First of all, besides the fact that unless you're doing organic and fully fermented, like at least soaked overnight, you're doing harm anyway on a brand new digestive system, because the anti-nutrients have not been neutralized. So toss that aside, save it for later, like a year and a half maybe, and then organic and fermented or soaked or sprouted. But the other reason not to do grains initially is because babies are not yet producing the enzymes to digest the carbohydrates. So you're setting them up for allergies if you introduce grains too early. The first foods that I fed most of our children, which I learned to be the very safest, the most nourishing, the very best, and that introduced tastes that are actually good for them to help develop a taste for other good things, these foods are lightly cooked egg, especially egg yolk, from pastured animals, not from a conventional farm. I would not feed a baby an egg from the gas station or just a regular conventional grocery store egg. But a soft cook egg from a clean source. And I like to mix a little bit of raw cream into that. That's the perfect first food. You just stir it up, and you can put a little drop of cod liver oil in there if you want. I also introduced cod liver oil on my fingertip to my children. And I started doing that at about 6 months. So 5-6 months, once teeth are beginning to emerge, that is your perfect indicator that the child is ready to be introduced to solid foods. Their bodies are not producing the enzymes at all to break down anything other than breast milk until their teeth start to emerge. So start with soft cooked eggs, raw cream, or maybe even vat pasteurized, low temp pasteurized cream if you can't get raw cream, but not ultra pasteurized, and only organic and well sourced. And then this will gross some people out. My children like to make jokes about it, but babies' bodies can handle complex proteins if you chew them before you give them to the baby. So I used to chew up a little chicken or a little bit of beef. And of course, I didn't do this at the dinner table or in front of company, but I would chew it up, and into the baby's mouth it would go, just a little bit at a time, so they can taste it and their digestive systems can become accustomed to it. Those are great first foods. Raw milk is wonderful, but not as a replacement for breast milk unless you're making raw milk formula. For our 7th child, he was happily nursing and doing great until he was about 5 months old. And then he started to get really fussy. And I noticed he started to get thinner. And I realized, I took a pregnancy test. I was pregnant already with his little sister. And so I immediately started supplementing with our own fresh raw cow's milk. And he consumed it happily, but he got constipated. So I realized I needed to actually make the formula that Sally Fallon Morell and Mary Enig came up with many years ago. Once I added everything, including gelatin and brewer's yeast and cod liver oil and coconut oil, and there's probably 1 or 2 other things. The formula is on our website. Last year I wrote an article about it when the shortage was happening of baby formula. We won't go into that. Anyway, once I introduced Wilson to the raw milk baby formula, he thrived. No more constipation. He just thrived. And at that point, I stopped even trying to nurse him because there was nothing going into him. It was all going into the new baby. So I kept him on the raw milk formula. The only danger to raw milk is if you're sourcing it from a dairy that is not clean. I don't recommend getting raw milk from a conventional dairy where the cattle are not rotationally grazed or are being fed conventional grains. I just strongly encourage you to stay away from that. But raw milk, yes. Raw milk formula, yes, absolutely. It is safe for babies as long as you have a good, clean source. All right. Have I answered that? Well,
I think so. Yeah, and she said, and Lori says that her daughter is eating grass-fed beef and organs
Good.
and raw milk dairy, so that's wonderful. And
Good.
just in case anybody needs a recipe to make homemade nutrient-dense formula, I did just add it into the description box. So we have that on our blog in case you know anybody that that needs the recipe for the homemade nutrient-dense formula.
Yeah. And I see that someone's asking if I can't find the fermented cod liver oil. Is the traditional cod liver oil fine to take too? For the most part, no, it's not. But you can order from Green Pasture Products their fermented cod liver oil. They send anywhere. And we have a link on our website. Erin, I'm sure will put that also in the description probably. With our link, you get 10% off, I think.
Yeah, it's 10 or 15%.
10 or 15. Yeah, I don't remember. And they run good deals. So you actually can always get it no matter where you are. It seems expensive up front, but the thing is you only take about 1/3 the amount that you would a traditional cod liver oil because the nutrients are multiplied in the fermentation of the cod liver. So you actually don't need nearly as much. So one bottle I use the liquid. I also use the gel mixed with butter oil. Erin, I think you're just using the liquid, right?
Yeah, I usually use the liquid. The cinnamon is my favorite.
Yeah, that's my favorite too. I also have, right now I have the orange. At first, when you shoot it into your mouth, a lot of people say it burns a little, and it did mine. And after a day or two, it stopped. It doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't burn anymore. If you're putting it in the baby's food, it's not going to do that anyway. Um, but I would recommend letting the child taste it on their finger, on your fingertip. And again, Tambray, just order through our link if you can, because it is widely available. Rosita and Premier are two brands of non-fermented cod liver oil that are still available. Radiant Life catalog sells them. They're okay. They're fine. I do not suggest Carlson's or some of the other brands. They're molecularly distilled. They're damaged. A lot of them have some of their important vitamin content removed and sold to the vitamin industry. You want whole unprocessed cod liver oil, but the fermented is just extra powerful, and it's safe, and it is sort of self-preserved. It does have rosemary essential oil added to it as a preservative as well. So I do not recommend an off the store shelf cod liver oil anyway. We highly recommend Green Pasture products. And again, these are products that we personally use and purchase for ourselves. And I've used Green Pasture products for years and years without problem. Okay. Um, so yes, I recommend Green Pasture products. And if I move my cursor around, things light up and go to the background. So let me, my daughter eats grass-fed beef and beef organs and raw milk dairy. That is wonderful, Lori. The one thing I would suggest that you add just a little bit of is a fermented food like sauerkraut that you make yourself or you purchase somewhere, but it has to be fermented and not canned. Even Costco sells a raw sauerkraut. The sauerkraut contains live and active enzymes that help you to break down, to digest the proteins as well as the fats, and they help to keep the gut clean also, and the microbial balance exactly as God intended. So if you introduce a little bit, just a little bit of either sauerkraut or a naturally fermented pickle, I wouldn't suggest kimchi until the child is a little older, unless you're Latin or, some persuasion that maybe the child is already accustomed to something hot and spicy. And if you don't want to take a bite, chew it up, mix it with your saliva and slip it into their mouth, at least mix a little brine from a ferment into that, or the ferment itself, because that will help with the digestion. Okay. Dewdrop cleansing oil featuring ingredients like Oh, thank you. Carmen gave us the ingredients of the dewdrop.
Nice.
Jojoba, myrrh resin, rosemary, virgin sweet almond oil, macadamia oil, chamomile, pink grapefruit essential oils. And I know that there's emu oil, and I think it's both emu and cod liver. I don't remember. Lily uses fermented cod liver oil in her skincare products. Can you pasteurize your own raw milk to make it safe for babies? It actually is safe for babies, again, if it comes from a clean and good source. My midwife used to milk her goats, and then she would vat pasteurize her goat milk because she felt it was unsafe. But her reasoning for why it was unsafe was actually not sound. And we disagreed. I don't recommend pasteurizing it at all. Raw milk digests itself until you pasteurize it. Raw milk contains a perfect balance, of vitamins A and D until you pasteurize it. And then those nutrients degrade Vitamin C diminishes. All of the good things that God gave us in raw milk diminish. So unless you're getting it from a source that you're not too sure about, I wouldn't pasteurize it. If you had to pasteurize it at all, if you really were just uncomfortable, just low temp, just take it up to not above 115. Everything starts to degrade at 115, including one thing that most people don't realize is that milk contains amino acids called lactoferrins. My feral kitty is staring down at me from the window above. I think it's very cute. Sorry, distraction. Lactoferrins are present in raw milk, and one of their main roles is to neutralize pathogens that might be in the milk. And so I have a friend out in California who has actually the world's largest raw milk dairy. There's been some controversy surrounding some of his sales. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that because there's a whole lot to it. But what I wanted to say was that he did tests where he intentionally inoculated his raw milk with different pathogens like E. coli and salmonella. And he let the milk sit for 24 hours and he tested it and he found that the lactoferrins actually they neutralized the pathogens. So after 24 hours of just sitting, the milk was perfectly fine and safe anyway. So I don't recommend the pasteurization. Yes, Lori, this is being recorded, so you can share it with your daughter. How much of the cod liver oil do you take in a day? I take usually, if it's just straight cod liver oil, I take 1 teaspoon in the morning and 1 teaspoon in the evening. If I don't get both doses in, I'll just do one slightly larger dose before bed. If I'm taking the cod liver oil, butter oil blend, I actually take about a tablespoon of that. Erin, what are you doing with that? How much do you take? We can't hear you.
I usually take it at night before I go to bed, and anywhere from half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon is what I do right now.
Okay, yeah. It is known that that too much of a good thing is not good. If you take too much, and I'm talking like 2 or more tablespoons a day, maybe for some a tablespoon and a half a day, it thins your blood and it can be detrimental to your health. I actually had one naturopathic doctor friend years ago who really strongly promoted the cod liver oil and the fermented cod liver oil. And then he changed his mind. He got sick and he blamed it all on the cod liver oil. And he later died. He died he had a really bad heart. I think he died, I think it was a heart attack. I don't remember for sure. But he was taking mega doses. He was blaming his illness on the fermented cod liver oil. But he was taking way more than even he recommended his patients. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So just take the right amount. You don't need to go overboard with it. So if you introduce foods to baby, I'm assuming, how about kefir? I would start with 24-hour cultured yogurt, not kefir, because kefir is super powerful. Kefir has anywhere from 24, 26, maybe as many as 30 different organisms. I would start on kefir, or rather on a 24-hour fermented yogurt. I could go grab one from my fridge to show you my favorite brand, but I'm not going to slip away and go do that. The name of the brand that I recommend the most, and it's available at least up and down the East Coast. I've bought it everywhere from Maine to, I think, Georgia. I don't know if I found it in Florida. But Trimona. Trimona is a cultured yogurt that comes from A2 protein tested, totally grass-fed organic milk from Pennsylvania. And it's cultured for 24 hours with 6 strains, not 3, not 4, but 6. So it is an excellent, excellent product to start. And if you're working on a gut healing protocol, same thing. Just a little bit, like a teaspoon at a time for baby is all that they need. And man, if you start them off with that, you're really starting off their gut health superbly. So I definitely recommend that. Okay, so Yana is asking about an allergic reaction to real salt. It's the smoked cherry and smoked hickory. And she tasted them, and by the end of the day, she broke out in hives.
Yeah, I just looked up in the ingredients, and it really is. It's just smoke, or I'm sorry, it's just salt, but they do
They smoke it.
Smoke it, yeah.
And most people are not going to have an issue with that, but sometimes some people obviously will. And that's going to be more primarily from what's in the smoke. And bear in mind that it's difficult to get, apple, cherry, or hickory, or any wood that hasn't, hickory less, but that hasn't been sprayed in the growing process, that doesn't have some chemical residue. So you may be reacting to that, Yana. And I'm guessing, knowing a little bit about your history, that might be the case. I helped Yana a while ago with her daughter who had alpha-gal syndrome. So that's why I say I know a little bit about the background. I am guessing that there's something in the smoke, and it probably is some kind of chemical residue that, in particular, when it was smoked, may not have been chemical. I don't know for sure, honestly, but I'm guessing that at least there was something in the chemical composition of that smoke that irritated you. Now,
have you had just the salt by itself? Does the plain salt? Have you had any issues with just the plain salt by itself? If so, that would indicate that there is definitely something about the smoking aspect of it that's causing an issue.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the smoke. So the just real salt is a great product and should be of no problem whatsoever, but I would suggest staying away from smoked products generally. Now, as to dealing with the hives, I hope that by now you're beginning to overcome them. I do suggest baths with baking soda and hot bath with baking soda and Epsom salt. Yeah, Yana can have the regular salt. Okay. Baking soda paste as well to draw, or Redmond, any clay.
Yeah. I was gonna say I have a lot of issues with sensitivities, and especially lately with the holidays and just like being at parties and stuff, like Christmas parties and stuff, eating like more things that I wouldn't normally eat. And I have been having a pretty bad flare up this past week. So I've been taking a lot of baths in the Redmond clay, or bentonite clay. You can get it from, I think there's a brand called Aztec you can get from pretty much any drugstore. And the Redmond clay is the same and very good. So I put like a cup of clay in, and the Epsom salt, and plain salt also. I just put plain salt in, and I've been bathing in that, and that seems to definitely help it. But yeah, I know all about that stuff. It's annoying.
Yeah, Erin has had a real problem with sensitivities, and it affects her skin. It affects her moods.
And I use the Hearth and Homestead tallow balms. That's the only thing I use on my face and on my skin, and that always helps as well.
But you mentioned bentonite clay, and I want to touch on that for a moment too. This corresponds with what we're talking about anyway. When you have consumed something that is making you have a reaction, whether it be food poisoning or a histamine reaction, one thing that you can do is take a suspension of bentonite clay or activated charcoal. Some people find, activated charcoal in capsules is fine. I used to just mix it in water, and the texture's gross. But I do keep Sonne number 7, a big bottle of Sonne number 7, SONNE7. It's a solution of bentonite clay. It's a slurry. It's sort of gelatinous. When you take that, and Erin, do you remember giving it to you as a kid if you had a stomach bug or something?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It absorbs everything. It's indiscriminate. It just absorbs everything in your gut. So if you have something there that's irritating you or making you sick, you can take that a few times and it absorbs it, you excrete it, and it helps to get you past it really fast. But bentonite clay, just as a mud, put on skin, it draws. So it's good for poison. It's good for insects bites. It's also good for hives. I think it's better than baking soda. Sometimes I put a little bit of lavender oil in it because lavender is soothing, but that it draws. So you have something like the hives or a pimple or anything. It's because your skin is trying to get rid of something that it's having difficulty with through the digestive system. It's got to come out through the skin. We want to help the skin to get rid of it. So drink lots of water, maybe water with real salt added. And definitely, I always keep the clay on hand for things like this.
Yeah, I've been drinking that in a little bit every morning this week. And then do things too, like the ginger and turmeric, like the anti-inflammatory things, help a lot too.
Yes, they do. And you can take that as a tea, a tincture. You can also, again, add that to the bentonite clay. Any clay will work. Bentonite just seems to be extra effective. So you can put those things in the clay as well and put it directly on your skin, and that will help a lot. Okay. We had some questions. Give me some more questions.
Okay, some that we had from Facebook were, and real quick, just wanted to mention, I believe it was Brookside Acres that asked this a little bit ago about the V, and we have to be really careful about what we talk about. So on this platform, or we will get a strike. And so if you want to email us, we can go ahead and respond to you via email, because we do have opinions about that. But our email is our email is hello@godsgoodtable.com. So feel free to shoot us an email and we can talk about that some more. But we do have to be really careful about what we say on this platform, or we will get a strike and won't be able to be on here anymore. So.
Do we even want to give a clue as to what our opinion is?
No, we'll just go ahead and we'll just.
We really want to stay.
We're very careful about about using those things. So
we will be recording something in the not too distant future and putting it on Rumble. As a matter of fact, we have one video on Rumble from a friend of mine whose name I cannot say, and it was
that was our first strike.
Yeah, so we're super careful. But that interview,
you only get 3 strikes before you get kicked
and then you're out and you're done. And we need this to continue for all of you. So you can go to our Rumble channel if you want to see that. I've actually been surprised at a couple of other interviews. One in particular that we have up here is not it. We didn't get a strike for it.
I know. I'm surprised at that one too. But
yes, a certain scientist and whistleblower. So you can find her initials are JM. I'll say that. That was a pretty good interview. But the other one with my other friend it's available. Okay.
But if you send us an email at hello@godsgoodtable.com, we can send you some more information about that.
And we probably should just record something and have it on hand that we can send out.
Yeah, we can. And we can put anything on our website. Our website is fine. It's just this specific platform.
Just here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so we had some questions from Facebook. And
let me finish this question real quick from Leslie. Sorry. She doesn't understand the difference in the oils and the fragrance. So first off, this is a fast answer. Labels, we need to do a show just on understanding labels. I've asked my friend Sina to come on to do that. I haven't heard back from her. But one of the labels that's common is natural flavors and natural fragrances. Natural, that in quotes, I'm using quotes, air quotes. That only means designed, created, formulated to seem natural, to smell natural or taste natural. That doesn't mean that they're actually naturally derived, okay? So whether you're talking about something you're putting inside of your body or on your body, beware of that term natural. There are some fragrance oils available that actually are plant sourced, that are not chemical in nature. However, their extraction processes are dubious. They're usually extracted using hexane or other solvents, in which case there's always a residue of that. That's why I stay far and away from fragrance oils. In my mind, if it's not good enough quality to be an actual essential oil, we shouldn't be using it anyway. And the vast majority of essential oils are garbage. Also, I only trust a few brands. I do trust the big, expensive, multi-level ones, doTERRA and Young Living. They are good quality oils, but they are through the roof unnecessarily expensive. There are a couple that I like Thieves or doTERRA's On Guard. I like those blends a lot, and I keep them in my cabinet. But I stick with Mountain Rose Herbs and Eden Botanicals primarily, and only pure essential oils because I can trust them. Okay, go ahead, Erin. You were going to ask from Facebook.
So first question from Facebook is talking about asthma. So what about asthma? Why is it such a problem? And what can we do about it? And kind of the same thing with allergies as well.
Okay. One of the big known reasons for asthma is the consumption of pasteurized, and especially now ultra pasteurized milk, and also ultra pasteurized food. In our bodies, our digestive system our body doesn't recognize these altered foods and products as natural and belonging in our bodies. And so our body wants to reject them because once they've been ultra processed or ultra pasteurized, or even in many cases, just pasteurized milk, period, the proteins are denatured. The nutrients, especially the fat soluble nutrients, are harmed. And then through our digestive tract, and they go through our digestive tract and are absorbed into our bloodstream, but our body doesn't recognize these things as actual food. The ultra processing of foods, in particular dairy products, but not only dairy products, has really changed what food is. But our bodies haven't changed. Our bodies still expect God-given food. And when instead it's given altered compounds that originated from God-given food, then our body protests. And I believe that that is one of the most significant reasons that we have allergies and asthma. So I have heard one story after another of a child having asthma, and then they stop consuming pasteurized dairy products and switch to good, clean, raw dairy products, and magically the asthma disappears. But the other reason for so many allergies and asthma is the pharmaceuticals that we're putting into our bodies, and also the GMOs. But the pharmaceuticals that we're putting into our bodies are causing a lot of damage to our gut. It may be a little at a time. It may be a lot at a time. Think of a newborn infant being put, especially on soy milk formula, which isn't milk, by the way. And it's not organic, and it's genetically modified, and it's full of phytic acid, the highest legume. Phytic acid is very destructive to the guts. And then you add on to that the pharmaceuticals. And that earlier question that we can't talk about here, so much research and so many scientists and doctors have found it to be true that that particular line of products directly causes gut damage and sets us up for allergies. And there are very particular reasons for that we won't go into here. But we've really dealt a severe blow to God's design. Just remember, this is God's beautiful design. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Why do we mess with it so much? We've screwed up our bodies and our children's bodies to the point that it can't tolerate food. So we need to go back to God-given food. We need to heal our guts, and we need to stop causing the damage. I'm sorry, I'm so passionate about this. Sometimes I just cry. I just hate it. But allergies and asthma go back to real, whole, God-given food. Not ultra-pasteurized, not ultra-processed, processed to the degree that, okay, we make yogurt or kefir or sauerkraut, or we chop up a leg of lamb. We can process it in that degree, but ultra-processing, absolutely no. I'm actually going to reach out to Dr. Sean, can't think of his name. There are a couple of people out there that are talking about the problem with ultra-processed foods. So we shouldn't be allergic to any food, any natural compound whatsoever that we breathe or that we drink or that we eat. But it's what we've done to it and to our bodies that cause the problem. These problems can be reversed. Some of them are very difficult to reverse, but it all starts in the gut. And the gut healing starts and finishes with what we put into our mouths. Okay. What else?
We've got one more. It says, I have alpha gal. What can I do?
And Yana might want to even pitch in here with comments on that. Alpha-gal is a tick-borne illness. It really started to become known about 5 years ago. It's been around for longer than that, but it started to really become apparent probably about 5 years ago. I've known several people with it. It is resistant to antibiotics, and I don't think we should be pumping antibiotics into our bodies anyway for all the reasons we just talked about. But it is treatable. Alpha-gal makes us unable to consume red meat. Excuse me, I am getting over a cold. I'm doing my respiratory protocol and I'm getting over it quickly. But so alpha-gal causes one to become physically ill when they consume beef or venison. And one of our good friends has this. And he manages a 4,000-acre private game preserve. He has to harvest venison as part of the management. And of course, they eat mostly venison. He can't eat it. I saw a couple people last month at HOA, and two of the men that I know. They have alpha-gal and they're both homesteaders. They can't eat the meat that they're providing for their families. Okay. It is in many ways similar to Lyme disease. We've dealt with Lyme disease and several of our family members, and my husband in particular was chronically severely ill with it 10, 11 years ago. He tried the antibiotic protocol just like some have tried for alpha-gal with limited success and much harm. What did work for Lyme disease also we have found works for alpha-gal. And that is this. Any of these bacterial organisms that enter our bodies through an insect bite or whatever means, they have several metamorphical phases. spirochetes, and I forget all of the terms for all of the phases. They also tend to want to burrow deep into tissue like muscles and joints to hide, especially when they somehow know that they're being chased by antibiotics or something to kill them. And so we have to be really smart about our approach in dealing with it. All of the organisms that cause these problems also are coated in what is known as a biofilm. It's a lipid shield, a fat-based shield that protects that organism from anything from the outside trying to kill it. So that makes it very difficult. Antibiotics have limited success anyway because they just build up this biofilm and then the antibiotics can't get through. So what do? Our approach has been three-pronged. We attack the biofilm with proteolytic enzymes, and we do have one product on our website, WOB enzymes, that we've used for that. There's another one that I'll add that we're currently using. My husband is going through this protocol again, just in case. So right now he's using a Garden of Life enzyme product, but you need proteolytic enzymes. These enzymes, like WOB enzymes, it seems like an expensive product, but it is very effective, and you need to take a lot of it. You take, if it's WOB enzymes in particular, 2 capsules 4 times a day on an empty stomach. Empty stomach is very important because if you take it with food, it's going to help digest your food, and the enzymes will be used up in the breaking down of food. So instead, you want to take these enzyme products on an empty stomach so it enters the bloodstream, and then it can get into the system and start breaking down the biofilm of these organisms. Once the biofilm is weakened and breaking down, then monolauric acid and herbal tinctures like cat's claw and wild teasel, those are my 2 big favorites. Not andrographis. I would not recommend andrographis when you are dealing with something that can cause autoimmunity, because andrographis excites the immune system and can be counterproductive. So we stay away from that, which other people might normally go to. For this, we don't. Wild teasel and cat's claw are the 2 main ones. Right now, I have usnea tincturing. They call that nature's doxycycline. George will start using that next week. Usnea is it's a lichen that grows. You see it in the north, especially. You can buy the tinctures, or you can buy the dried herb or the dried lichen and make your own. I just harvested it from Maine. Anyway, you rotate weekly the herbs. And there are a couple of others that you can use as well, but the primary ones are cat's claw and wild teasel. And then, as I said, I'm adding usnea. So you use the proteolytic enzymes 4 times a day on an empty stomach, and then you take tinctures 1 at a time of one of those herbs and monolauric acid. We have monolaurin on our resource page. I can't recommend it enough. I am never without it. Well, I shouldn't say never, because we do occasionally run out, and man, we hate to be without it. We use this for colds, for just about anything that is making us sick, especially if it's communicable. So the monolauric acid pellets, along with the herbal tincture and a glass of water, and the enzymes. Boom. That's how we attack the alpha-gal, and that's how we attack the Lyme disease and Babesia, the other associated pathogens as well. And it works better than anything else I know. There's also a salt therapy. We've dabbled in that. But what I trust and what I know is what I've just told you. So I hope that that does help. Cat's claw has another name, and I have it in my herb basket, but I didn't bring it out. Hey Siri, what is another name for cat claw? It's probably going to come up with.
Uncaria tomentosa is a tropical vine which can grow up to 98 feet.
That's really not helping me. We don't need the Latin name, which is Uncaria.
I take that. My doctor has me doing the cat's paw, and I take one that's from Quicksilver, I believe. It's it's cat's paw, the herb. It's like in an oil, and then I take like 2 pumps in my mouth and switch it around.
Now, why does she have you doing that instead of a tincture under the tongue?
For detoxification, and that's just the one that she uses.
Okay.
It's still the herb. It's just suspended in I guess like a liposomal oil formula, and then I just swish it around in my mouth.
Okay. So you're still getting it by swishing it in your mouth. You're getting it under the tongue, where we have tiny capillaries that very quickly absorb. That's why I typically use tincture and in water, and it's good to swish it, or just an alcohol tincture. It kind of burns, but sometimes I do just put it under the tongue, because then the capillaries will absorb that herb very quickly. But Erin, in a liposomal oil form, that's fine too. So that's what we recommend. And let me state, Erin and I are not doctors, and we don't play one on TV like Marcus Welby. That joke may be lost on anyone under 50. So we're speaking from experience and decades of study. And in my case, I have just sat at the feet of some really knowledgeable people and absorbed. But I'll take this opportunity also to say that Erin and I have agreed that we are both going to pursue different certificate programs so that we can be of greater help to all of you out there. I am going to pursue the root cause protocol, which is designed by an old friend of mine, Morley Robbins, and it gets to the heart of the issue. That's what I personally have been wanting to pursue, and we've decided that I'm going to start that this winter. Erin is pursuing a degree and a certification through NANP, right? Is that what you've landed on, or NTA?
The NTA program, which then I'll be able to be a member of the NANP organization afterwards.
So she will be a verifiable, certifiable nutritional protocol.
Hey, Sophie.
Oh, hi, Sophie. Oh, we love all of you, including Sophie. And I recommend Sophie's book. I have to sit down and do my excited review because I love it, and I just ordered more copies.
I know, Sophie. I've been trying to get Mom to do a little story for me for about 2 weeks now. So,
and I have to sit still.
She has to sit still long enough.
Yes. Sit still, not because I've crashed, but just sit still and get it done. Okay. Scott got the joke, and he's only 49. Good. Marcus Welby. Yep. Okay. We had another question or two, didn't we, from Facebook? And I can't hear you again. You're muted.
We have one more from Facebook. Okay, someone was asking about hormones, balancing hormones.
Oh, balancing hormones. That is such a big issue in modern times. Firstly, let's avoid soy. Other than well-fermented soy is a condiment, which means miso aged at least a year, tamari, shoyu that are aged at least a year. My favorite product, I think, is 3 years, and that's on our website. And of course, it has to be organic and only as a condiment. Soy is added to all kinds of, like, almost everything processed. and it is very high in plant-based hormones, estrogens, isoflavones. So we want to avoid soy products. We want to avoid sugar. We want to avoid plastics, which contain hormone disruptors. We really want to avoid glyphosate because that is a major hormone disruptor. So that means we have to only eat clean and organic. Okay. So first we start with what we don't put into our bodies. And then what we do. We eat a diet that is rich in saturated fats like lard, butter, ghee, and olive oil. And we can enjoy products like maca. I mix maca powder with cocoa powder and a little bit of pure monk fruit, and I dissolve that in water and add some raw milk, and I drink that. Well, I drink it every day, not necessarily in that exact form, but maca is an adaptogenic hormone balancer. It's good for both men and women. And that is the one herbal formula or the herbal product that I know is the most beneficial for balancing hormones. But
Thanks.
that first part of the equation is really important. Go ahead, Erin.
I think too, I've been looking into this raspberry leaf tea. Like most people say that it's good for when you're pregnant, but I think I believe that it kind of helps cycle. Like if you have too much estrogen, it kind of helps pull that out of your system as well. So raspberry leaf tea, and I know Natural Hope Herbals has a raspberry
Ladies
leaf tea.
formula and also their ladies formula.
Mm-hmm.
Natural Hope Herbals has their ladies formula, which is designed specifically to help us with balancing our hormones. And their products are so well made, so clean, and so powerful that I would really recommend trying it. And again, there's a link. We have a link on our resource page, and I think a discount code. Erin manages all of that stuff, so that's why you see me going, Erin, do we have a discount code for that?
I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, but of all of the products out there that I can recommend, I would recommend their ladies formula. I've used it. I would currently be using it, but I can't find my bottle. But besides that, in the raspberry leaf, the maca. Maca is really a good, gentle, but strong. That's an oxymoron. It's gentle in that it doesn't hit your system hard, but it's a really powerful hormone balancer. So definitely worth getting into. I see that Scott says I have asthma, which didn't come on until my early 40s. I might have had COVID, but didn't get tested. No symptoms with it initially. Okay. Scott, let us know, did you hear the first part of this conversation where we talked about allergies and asthma? Wow. You lost about 30% lung capacity.
I think this has been an issue with people that have had COVID. This comes up pretty frequently. Like no matter what their state of their health before and after, like this is definitely something that's a COVID post symptom.
And I think that in and of itself kind of requires its own attention.
I know recently I came across someone that we follow that was talking about it. So I feel like this would probably be good, especially because it's been it's winter time. It's coming back up again. So let me see if I can go back and find, because I know whoever it was, I saved the information because I was like, I'm going to need to know. I was like, this is helpful. So let me go find it and let's see if we can find some more specific information on treatment of.
Dr. Peter McCullough has a protocol for long COVID and for healing the lungs. It's been a frequent topic on our Weston A. Price Foundation chapter leaders list, so I can go back and look through our many emails about that and get more information as well. But it's a topic that we need to go in depth with, and I would like to have someone else come on and bring forth more information that Aaron and I have found elsewhere also. But in the meantime, you can look up Dr. Peter McCullough. He was very well known during the last few years and all that stuff. So he's easy to find, but he does have a protocol for what is called long COVID that helps the lungs to recover. Yeah, one of our chapter leader friends, she's an older woman. She's in her early 70s, I think. She has had such a tough time on it with it. And I think she still is on oxygen actually for like a year. And there may be some specific reasons why she had such a hard time of it. I don't know. But let us come back with a lot more solid information, because that is a topic that really deserves full attention and not just 5 minutes. So
yeah, and it would be good to have someone on to talk through that too.
Yeah.
That would be a very beneficial one.
And before the gut health, we were talking about asthma and allergies that led into gut health, Scott. So you might want to just go back. This will be going up as soon as we're done and we close out. Within minutes, the whole program will be available to watch from the beginning. So
Also, I wonder, because it does damage to the lungs. I wonder if taking lung
yes,
is
desiccated lung.
Yeah. So let
To
me
rebuild.
see. Now, there's ancestral supplements and heart and soil are two.
And
good
also
ones.
Dr. Ron's. I don't think we have a link for Dr. Ron's, but
Yeah, I don't think we have that one.
Ron's ancestral supplements. I think Umzu also. They have desiccated lung. And just as in homeopathy, where we say like cures like, in nutrition, like builds like. So if we need to rebuild and strengthen any part of our bodies, it's always beneficial to consume that animal product. You need a stronger heart, you eat heart. It's good for you. Liver, which is good for us anyway because of vitamin D and iron. So I would definitely urge you to consider taking a good
And ancestral supplements does have one.
Yeah, they do. And Dr. Ron's, I know, doesn't have any magnesium sulfate or other additives. Ancestral supplements is also pretty clean. So I would think either of those would be fine. Okay. We have been on for a little over an hour. There are, I think, more questions, but we can come back to that, to more questions later. Erin, do you agree that we should do an Ask Me Anything once a month?
Yeah, we should definitely do more of these. Let me just make sure we're not missing
Something really important for right
now. We had something about the 3-year-old daughter that's had 2 UTIs. Not sure why. It seems to come with sickness. Tried natural treatments, but ended up having to give antibiotics. What can I do to help her gut and prevention tips? So that's another.
Okay, and I just had a podcast and an article just a couple weeks ago about that. So let me revisit. Let me come back to that. I can post an answer here in the comments, but I don't want to comment until I review the information that I had prior. But some real basic things are no sugar. No sugar. And remember that starches turn to sugar in the body. So high fat, low carb diet temporarily. I don't want to do it long term for a 3-year-old, but make sure she's always getting plenty of saturated fat because it's very protective. And definitely even fruit. Fruit is meant to be dessert, and modern fruit is formulated, hybridized to produce a lot of sugar. So it tastes sweet. God-given fruit isn't that sweet. Old-fashioned wild blueberries are not that
Yeah,
sweet.
blueberries are such a good fruit because they're not high in sugar.
Yeah. And of course, we know about cranberries for UTIs. Cranberry juice almost always has apple juice or something else added. and that's not good. But also, it's not going to be good for a 3-year-old to be popping capsules of cranberry juice powder either. So let me pull up that information and answer that. I don't want to say anything that I might wish I wouldn't have said or miss something that I should have said. So, man, I love chicken hearts too. And you sometimes just got to track down the farmer. I love to and primarily buy our proteins from local farms, and I get all of the organs and all of the bones. I don't let them throw anything away. They can have the hide or the feathers, but anyway, sometimes I buy organic chicken at Costco, and I just think it's hilarious. We feed a lot of people in this house, and I can't always afford to buy the best everything local, everything directly from the farm. So a lot of our chicken products, if I'm not producing them, as I'm not currently, I have to buy them somewhere. And I do buy some from the local farmers, but I go to Costco a lot. And when I open up the organic chickens from Costco, and I don't recommend these as the best source, okay? You never know what you're going to find in those little packs of organ meats. Sometimes I'm delighted because all I get is liver, and I love chicken liver. Sometimes I get a little liver, a little gizzard, a little heart, but usually it's like a whole lot of this and nothing of the other. And one time recently, I got a whole package of just chicken hearts. Man, I chopped those things up and I sauteed them with shallots and ghee. They were so good. I tried to save some for my husband, but he didn't get very many because they just tasted so good to me. So, yeah, that's one way. And of course, PLUCK. Thank you, Liz. PLUCK organ meat. Aaron uses it every day.
All the time.
Yep, I use it almost every day, but I do eat a lot of organ meat otherwise. I like the PLUCK seasoning blends, and we do have a discount code and a link directly for PLUCK. They're one of our favorite companies. So Carmen loves all the organ meats. That's really, really good. And then, that's a good first food for babies also. Just a little bit of liver. It doesn't even have to be cooked. It can be frozen and then diced up. A little bit of heart chopped up. It is so good when it is sauteed with shallots and butter or ghee. Wow, and some Celtic or Redmond salt on it. Don't need much else, do you? Okay, we thank you all so much. You've been so attentive and inquisitive, and we just thank you. We're so grateful. Please do share this with your friends. We're trying to grow our channel and grow our business, and that only happens by people coming on and seeing what we're doing. It sounds so redundant. I listen to a lot of podcasts all the time, and I always hear, please don't forget to like
and subscribe.
But please do like and subscribe, because believe it or not, that actually really does help us. It helps with the algorithm, and it actually helps with monetization as well, which we kind of rely on. So thank you. And we wish you all a joyous holiday. I'm so excited for our family to be together next week. It's just such a blessing. And so we wish for you all to have a Merry Christmas. Aaron and I think, Sarah won't be here yet, but Aaron and I are going to come on for a special program next Wednesday when we're together. So until then, just take good care, everyone, and have a joyous holiday. And we can't wait to see you again next week.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Thank you all so much.
Yes.